art, and my talk today is about, my art show is focused on symbiosis, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that word. And to me it means like a relationship that benefits, is mutually beneficial to others, and what is actually very symbolic, that the other person, my partner, is coming, they're late, they're not here, but I didn't want to keep you waiting. But that's actually kind of the story of our art. So it's kind of ironic that she's not here, but when you meet her, you're gonna find her incredibly lovely in every way, and her name is Tiffany Rose, so she should be here shortly. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about the spirit of collaboration today in the human existence, to kind of bring you back as far as we know in ancient history. People have been collaborating in visual arts for centuries. And what's so ironic is that today, that's not something that we see in the visual arts as much. But if you think back to like the pyramids and all the art that was designed and developed in there, cave art, how it was added to, and all the symbols. Artists have, decorated and put their mark on these things together for centuries. Even looking back at like the Roma wagons that people would like create like this beautiful art piece where they like was their home. Even that was like a community that came together. So these relationships have, between certain artists always were very fascinating to me, because I always found art to be like a very private thing. Like you get an image in your head and then you want to put it on a canvas or some kind of medium. And then the idea of like others working together to create art seemed like a very foreign concept to me. But when I grew up, and I'm really proud that I have my sister here, we had a family of 11 children, and so we did a lot of stuff together. And whether it was creating little tiny fairy houses on clay on the creek, or doing pageants for our parents that I'm sure were pretty interesting if I saw them today. But whatever it was, we were always creating art. And we grew up on a farm. We were a little bit isolated in lots of ways. So like that creation of art was kind of like part of who we are. And we were often like collaborating, working together. But some of my most memorable artists in my childhood were actually collaborative visual artists. What comes to mind is the brothers Hildebrandt. I don't know if you're familiar with their work. They did beautiful pictures, and they worked together on them, and they would have live models come in, and they were the creators of like hundreds of images for the Lord of the Rings books. And so if you look them up, you're just going to be really fascinated by like the depth and the beauty and the actual fact that they like brought in people who were working on images together, and just these like still frames of real models. So the fact that like two brothers were like, we're going to create these masterful pieces together was really inspiring to me. Another couple that comes to mind is Richard and Wendy Pinney. They created the ElfQuest series. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but it's a graphic novel, and they worked on the art and the writing together. So the fact but that to me seemed a little bit easier, because the fact that like they were husband and wife, so they were working on a project, I could see that maybe they would get annoyed with each other from time to time. But they cranked out tons of comic books, very striking style, and really beautiful story by like that Symbiosis. I'm not sure when Tiffany Rose and I, like the day that it all came together, but I definitely remember the day of meeting her. I was live painting at a show. It was in like the old Joe Feds, and then it became like a really fun, like kind of nightlife place, and they would have me down there, and I opened a huge show because it was like multi-stories, and here I was painting, and up rolls this like a really fantastic human. She's wheelchair bound, but she pushes out this amazing energy. And she got to talking with me, and I don't think I felt annoyed, but I was like kind of distracted because I was like in my piece and she was talking to me. And then the kind of nice thing is when you're doing a piece and you're doing live art, like people walk behind you and you can interact with them. But like there was something about Tiffany, like I wanted to talk to this human more and like connect with her. She's like, I just have to have your art at my house. So I was like, well, we can make that happen. So we afterwards got to know each other, and then we became really fast friends over the years. Now, Tiffany is a wicked artist all by herself. I am a slapdash kind of person. I see an image, I dream it, and I want to get it on the canvas. But she is meticulous. Her detail work, if you've looked at some of these pieces, every single little bead or crystal, that's what she does. And so we would work side by side for years. Like she would do her piece, we'd have really fun art nights, we'd bring another artist, and I would do my pieces, and they were just so divergent on styles. And then one day Tiffany said to me, hey, you know what? It would be really cool if I could like add to your piece. And I was like, I don't know about that. But I agreed, and I sent that piece home with her, and she said, do you have any instructions? And I said, no, because I've already kind of let go of like, my baby is leaving to grown up apparently. You know, I had like that whole like, well, at this point, you know, whatever's, it's not that I didn't trust her to do the right work. It was just this immense amount of trust of handing it over. So it went home, and then she said, I can't wait to show it to you. And I was like, all right, you know, just not. And then I was just spellbound. I couldn't believe how, for whatever reason, our two brains like dovetailed, and we just added, we were able to like complement each other. And there was no communication or no like instruction or like, don't do this or don't do this. She just did it. Our lives are incredibly complicated. Tiffany has 3 kids and lives in Eugene. I live in Drain with, you know, my family. I work full time. So we barely ever got time to work together. So the days of like working side by side disappeared. So it became me dropping off pieces at her house or picking up pieces from her house. And then for some magical way, we were able to like co-create these pieces together. So that symbiosis, that trust, that collaboration spirit is very rare in the visual arts world. We see it in choirs, we see it in, you know, bands, we see it all dance, we see all these different things. And the fact that like here we are, 2 friends that were able to like foster this type of relationship and collaboration. And so far, knock on wood, like, you know, we've agreed on everything. And I don't think like either of us is like compromising. We just truly have the spirit of knowing each other well enough to know how we can complement each other. So that's my speech about symbiosis. And I would encourage you, if you're an artist, to try it out, because letting go of control of something is an amazing gift. And then receiving back something that somebody's like put their time and energy and love into is also a very beautiful thing. All right. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, it seems like you use it like in a therapeutic sense too, like whether you're an artist or not, like definitely if you're an artist, but also to do that relational creating with a friend or whoever, like,
Yeah.
it's just a really beautiful practice.
Yeah, well, I've seen a couple pieces of yours and been like, ooh, I'd like to put my little mark on there. But I also want to speak for a minute about these 2 beautiful humans behind you, if you don't know them, Judd and Renee. So they were very inspirational for me in many ways, Because like I'm not an artist by trade. I'm an artist by like, I remember being young, thinking I was gonna be an artist, going to like art school and doing that as my life thing. But my mom was very practical, and I thank her for it in many ways. Like, I ended up having 4 children. I probably wouldn't have been able to like give them the kind of life, you know, a comfortable life and with healthcare and all that stuff that I would have if I took that journey. So at some point, like I've only been like painting for about 10 years, but I've been an artist throughout my whole life. But seeing Judd and Renee's works, and especially assemblages, I never tried doing an assemblage till last January, and it really came from like not only investing in one of Judd's pieces, which like is in a prominent piece of my house. I could look at it every day and just be like, oh, I want to strive to do that kind of work. But also the work that they do here together and collaboratively in the shows that they do, and just the spirit of being artists, unapologetically doing that work. Like, thank you so much for being such an inspiration to the art community.
Very kind words, and I just want to follow up by acknowledging you're the principal of A3 Art School. You're nurturing a generation of artists in some of the hardest times to be in the educational system. And you were awarded Springfield's Educator of the Year last year. You're that
Thank
high
you.
level of a professional. And you're maintaining an art practice, and you run community events at your household, and you're a parent, and you're like, how are you doing this?
Well, my nickname's Time Bender, so I'm super ADHD is what it comes down to, and I don't like sleep a lot, and like I use my dreamscape for like design and inspiration, so I'll like wake up like, oh, I know what I'm gonna do today because, you know, like this morning I had like this amazing $1 million idea, and now I have to like make it happen. You know, I will tell you about it if you want. It's super weird, but okay, fine. A couple days ago, I woke up with a phrase in my head, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take this phrase and make a community poem on Facebook. So here's like the couple sentences starter, and then people will add to it, and it will make this beautiful poem. Oh, it's really gorgeous. If you guys like, I could read it to you.
Yes, please.
All right, because I did not write this all. This was written by the community. Oh, is it Tiffany?
Yeah.
Woo! I just talked about you, girl.
And this is something you can have published in the Graffiti magazine, that more than just, he said that they're very open to any other submissions from the community.
What?
Springfield.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I just found out about this Graffiti magazine, so super excited about it. All right, here goes, because I thought it was super lovely. Here she is, everybody. Beautiful Tiffany Round. Hi, buddy. Talking you up. All right. Yeah. I read this one yesterday aloud, and I was just like, wow, people are so talented. All right, here we go. My currency is love. My currency is love, given freely and with compassion. My currency is hope, striding forward with great passion. My currency is laughter, skipping around, handing out rations. My currency is touch, a hug here, holding a hand there, sitting shoulder to shoulder. My currency is dreams, stars twinkling over the seas. My currency is inspiration, offered by silent example. My currency is forgiveness, letting go of pain inflicted long ago. My currency is joy, as softened hearts we're co-creating. My currency is patience, knowing growth is worth waiting. My currency is kindness, used like kindling to build that warm fire of love. My currency are words, like water flowing, like syllables and homonyms slipping through my fingers without resistance. never ending up as a, this is too small, deposit in the riverbank. When they're released into the cycle of all things is a victory that outshines the mere accumulation for the sake of expanding decibels. Where thoughts, words, and heart align become silent decibels, heard by the soul and reverberating against the slate dark background of the internal. My currency is gratitude for all that comes my way, and the first thing I'm thankful for is the presence of that day. My currency is not represented by paper, jewels, or coin. It is compassion, values, and the very fabric of our community.
Wow. That's great.
Thank you. All right, so my crazy idea I woke up with this morning, because you are all going to be my investors. No, I'm kidding. So, you know how you go and you have charcuterie, which is out here, so make sure you eat them, and hand-dipped lemon truffles and fresh squeezed apple cider. But you put out meat and cheeses, and you can't keep them cold. So like the flies come, the bees come. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so I'm thinking that you have a container that has ice on the bottom. It has like a little wire mesh and like a little nice little tray. And it has a nice little lid. So you open up the tray and all the stuff's like kept cold. And it's called Snack Cutery. Snack Cutery. There you go. Ta-da. So that is what my brain does while the rest of you are sleeping. So about the pieces, they all have a story. So I will tell you one story, and then I will let you, that will be the end of my talk. So if you have questions about the other stories, I'd be happy to tell you about them. For example, which one should I pick? The Changeling. So this one's the Changeling. And Miss Tiffany Rose did these beautiful resin pieces, which are all hand-painted with like an iridescent rainbow color. And in the middle, there's like a lotus flower with just a little fetus. And the story of the changeling is really interesting in the European countries. They used to believe that the fairies would come and replace a human child with a child that was made of wood. So these are some old door pulls. There's two lions. Those represent the human form, because often the lions represent like strength and power of humans. But really, they're defeated by the fairies that took their child and replaced it with wood. Now, in this piece, the changeling can be hidden or not. So you can put up the little flap and hide it behind. But the anthropologists believed that the changeling was representative of children that were talkative and like all spirited, and then were autistic, that would stop talking. And so they were replaced with a child of wood or other disabilities. So this piece has personal meaning to me. I have 2 children that are autistic that experience like periods of not talking. And I always love like fairy tales. So to me, like being surrounded by the fairies and the magic, but the idea that they had to have a way to explain away why their child became so different. So that's all I have to say for now, but if you have any questions, let me know. Enjoy the treats.
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
I think you're an avatar. I do.
I am.
Interesting. I've been in the arts all my life, and I usually expect a visual artist not to be articulate with words, because they seem to originate from different muses, different parts of the brain. Mm-hmm. And your work is stunning.
Well, thank you.
More so, your titles.
Oh, thank you.
It reminds me, in ancient China, there was a style of poetry where the painter painted a scene and then commented on his feeling. Mm-hmm. And it's all kind of Ming, before Ming actually, Warring States period and earlier. and these are profound if you can speak Chinese.
Sure.
So you have to have them interpreted. You know, of course, it's a language that's condensed in a sense. I mean, one word is a sign. It's not lots of little letters. So, and these reflect that sort of melding of spirit, of visual and verbal.
Well, thank you.
Which is rare, I think.
Well, thank you.
Worthy of a book, I think.
Well, a little bit about me. I used to be incredibly shy. I would never talk to much of anybody except for my family. My sister can testify to that. I had a really bad speech impediment. So I suffered a lot in school. Not just being bullied, but like not talking or interacting with others. So it was very, very hard. So I went into education because I thought if I could make a difference for a kid like me, just one kid, then that would be entirely worth it. Now I have a whole school of them because I got demoted into administration, but that's what I try to do. Like every kid that comes before me, like how can I inspire hope? How can I make them feel safe? And I had to learn how to public speak. I pushed myself, like every time I got in front of people, I was like, I need to throw up, like I feel terrible, like this is freaking me out. I still feel those like, ugh, but I pushed myself to overcome that because guess what? I knew I could. And I think that that's important. There's some things I can't do. I absolutely can't swim. I've took swim lessons, I've jumped in the deep end of the pool, like I will go on water, and yes, I can do the chicken, whatever, soldier thing. But it's like my body is like anti-buoyant. I was almost drowned when I was in 5th grade and had to be resuscitated. So my body like goes back to that trauma. It's like, nope, we're not doing that. I can't whistle. My mouth is just, you know, those are two things. And like I've accepted it. And I do have yeah, like it's okay. It's all right. Like I can wait. I love the ocean. I wade in the waves. I go on boats. And I do have an unbucket list. There's some things I just won't do in this life. But the reality is like I've overcome this. And so now I am about the storytelling because I've never felt like I've been able to tell my story. I'll tell you one more. I said I wasn't, but I was telling, this piece is called Death is Only Sadness, Tragedy Lies in Waste. It's my favorite quote. It's from Herman Wouk, from The Winds of War. My mother was a great reader, so was my father. But she would hand us these crazy novels that were super hard to read. And this is one that she said, you should read this book. It is a devastating book. It's about war, and it's like just totally transparent. But the reason why that quote stuck with me was it's just so powerful. It's like we can totally prevent death. Why are we doing this? And so this piece with the skull representing human race and the flowers and the death moths representing nature, if we continue to kill our earth and decimate our earth, it's a totally preventable, and we're only laying waste to the human race. So that's what that piece represents. So anyway, yes. All right, well, thank you all for being here, and let me know if you have any questions and enjoy treats. And another round of applause for Tiffany Root. Do you have anything you want to say?
No, I think you said it also.
Okay. All right, thank you.